Oh, I got another question on Instagram. Okay, somebody said, Design with Cash says, can you give practical ways to identify risk at a high level? Works the best. Uh, what works the best? Okay, works the best working. What's the worst? The best working method you've encountered in your experience? Practical ways of identifying risk at a high level. Practical ways. All right. So the best thing I could tell you is like actual experience that I've had dealing with it. Starting off with, I was a cyber risk consultant at a giant company, and one of the things that we would do to identify risk is number one, we think about, okay, what industry is this person in? Is this organization in? Right? It could be a retail, it could be manufacturing, it could be whatever, right? The reason why it's important is because there's certain industries that have specific threats that they are targeted. Give me an example. Healthcare sector has been targeted with what do you call it? Ransomware. That's where hackers will get into their network and then they'll lock all their systems down. They'll steal the patient's information in a database and then they'll encrypt it and say, hey, okay, we want 3 Bitcoin. Give us 15 Bitcoin and we'll unlock it for you. Otherwise, we're going to leak all this information. Unfortunately has been a very common issue among healthcare industries. And the well, the reason why is because they sometimes they'll have some pretty weak best security practices. Another one would be let me see, another industry that has issues would be, well, all industries have issues, but another one would be military. So military advanced persistent threats for sure. Like that's another government attacking your network. So we would identify what industry they're in, and then statistically what is the most likely attack to happen based off of the industry. And then so that'd be the first step. Like what's the common threats to look for, right? It's a good thing to keep in the back of your head. It's not always just because a statistic says it's so, doesn't there's always outliers, right? But it's a good thing to know. The next thing you would do is identify weaknesses. How will we do that? You do a scan. You do a network scan. You'd use Qualys or Tenable or whatever, Rapid7, whatever tool that you have. You do a network scan to see what assets they have. Then you look at their documentation. What kind of processes do they have processes at all? And if they do have documents, processes, procedures, and things like that, a standard way that they do things, are those documents being followed? How updated are they? Are they updated on a regular basis? By knowing the threats and the weaknesses, we can figure out what's the most likely place they're going to get attacked, and that's your risk. The risk is the likelihood of a weakness being exploited by a threat. That's your risk. So if you have all that data, you'll be able to figure out what's the highest level of risk is the most likely place that they're going to get attacked. And when you put all of this stuff into the equation, what you figure out is you take the threat in their industry, the highest likelihood of threat. Let's take the healthcare industry. Let's say that the highest level of threat is phishing attacks, because that's how a lot of attackers are getting in. Phishing attacks, people clicking on emails, on the wrong email, and it corrupts their system, and then it propagates through the network and then locks up their network, or allows somebody to get in to find critical files on patients and then lock them up or whatever. So now, if we know that that's their highest level of threat, we're going to do all of our scans. We're going to, if they have wireless, we're going to look at all that. We're going to look at their processes. But we're also going to do a phishing attack, a phishing campaign. We're going to look at, or if they already do one, we'll pull their records down and say, okay, what does it look like? Let me see how many people are clicking on this phishing campaign. Like, meaning we would make a fake phishing campaign. Like we would, we would do a campaign, or they would do one, and see how many people click on fake links. And then we look at that and figure out, okay, we can see that 7% of the people are clicking on this fake link out of 1,000 users. We can see 7%. That's really bad because the average should be less than 3% or whatever, right? And then we would when we would create a report, we would say, like, here's your highest threat and here's why it's your highest threat. Healthcare industry is hit by the most out of any other industry, is hit by the most phishing attacks. So you need to, and then your phishing attacks is way higher than normal, which tells us that you have the greatest, you have a real big weakness in this area. And then we'll break down all the other weaknesses. Like if we saw this or that in the scan, the network scan, if we saw something with the physical security, we put that in there, whatever. And we give them this report.